Hey everyone, this is Christian Heimel, host of Caught Listening. Thanks for listening to the following podcast on Public House Media.
Daring to set boundaries is having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Brene Brown. Hello, welcome to Choose to Rise. I am so grateful that you decided to push play today because it means that you are here ready to rise up out of your current situation and live your absolute best life. That is my number one goal here on Choose to Rise, to help you be your absolute best. And today we're going to be talking about boundaries, what they look like, what they feel like, how I have changed in my world, how I'm living proof of the necessity for and the proof that they work to create more balance and joy in life. So today I wanted you to join me as I not only talk about kind of what boundaries are, but what they can feel like, what they may look like in your life, how you can use them to your advantage and not just as for a good life and not necessarily boundaries in the sense of like in a negative light. Okay. Follow me here. Okay. So boundaries are things that we refer to as not necessarily like drawing a line in the sand in the ground, like when we were little kids and say like, you can only come this far. Or if you're share a room with a sibling, like this is my half, that's your half. Like that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about exactly physical boundaries of locations or things like that. What I'm going to be talking today about are emotional boundaries, personal boundaries, not just limited to physical space, but space that is included in encompassing the idea where we are discussing, where we are learning, where we are feeling, where we are really understanding each other and knowing where our place is and what we can do to grow and change in this world without breaking the boundaries of other people as well. So I want you to have a better idea as I'm still learning and still growing with all of these boundaries and figuring things out in life. I don't think we're ever going to be perfect. I don't think there's ever going to be like a fantastic boundary. Boundaries are also meant to be pushed a little bit. And so if you're stuck in your comfort zone, I want you to expand that boundary today. I want you to expand that comfort zone, but I also want you to know where some of these things kind of hit home on. So, Brene Brown's quote, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. This quote really struck me because, having boundaries is a way for you to be able to love yourself and not necessarily shut other people out, but let other people know where your line is and what a good benchmark is for you to have in your life. So when I came across this quote, it really hit home for me, and I thought it might enlighten some of else more than myself on where we can really create those benchmarks in our life, where we can formulate and check in with our own personal boundaries and maybe find some spaces in our life where we can tweak and where we can adjust, maybe where we can create a different boundary or where we can really hone in on the boundaries that we have. So boundaries can vary from physical to emotional, and they can also have an additional layer of severity with them. It's easy to say healthy boundaries, but to really understand they're a whole different beast in general. So overall, establishing and enforcing your boundaries are important for establishing your personal identity and maintaining your mental health. When I first started working on my own personal boundaries, my lack of boundaries was really affecting my personal identity. I had taken to the extreme my servant heart. I've taken to extreme my need to be seen and to achieve and to do and to have and to rise on the ladder of respect from other people by doing and doing and doing. And I was really I really attempted to set boundaries within my relationships, but I didn't respect them. I often worked more than I had pleasure. I would put my work in front of my family. I would say I'm doing it for my family, but I was really just working to work because I was really trying to gain the approval of the people I worked with. And so my personal identity became this, overworked, burnt out, unhappy person. And it really threatened the identity of who I was as a mom and as a wife and as a human, as a daughter, and who I'd grown up to be. And when I really started to strengthen my emotional and personal boundaries, and I really started to realize that it was me that was in control of that boundary, not other people. I was always putting it on the needs of others around me. And so maybe this is you too. And maybe you are, doing it for them, but yet you're not, but you're at the cost of them. Like them might be family, children, spouse, family members in general. For me, that's what it was. It was my kids and my husband. I'm like, I work so hard because I want them to have a great life, my family to have a great life. But yet I was missing out on all of a great life because my boundaries, emotional, personal, all of those things were completely out of whack. And so I was the one not necessarily respecting the boundaries. When I kind of finally had that aha moment, I really kind of got to a point where I let myself go. Like my physical health was strained. My mental health was strained. I had very unhealthy boundaries as far as work and life balance. My relationships were strained. It was just a very negative spot. And so I had to swallow hard, and really kind of take responsibility for that and really find my idea of strength and become a strong woman. And this is really kind of where I questioned how I perceived myself. This is really where I did some soul searching and some reflection to truly understand my deficiencies and my boundaries and how I got to this point so I can kind of recoil back and make a new path for myself. And then also to really figure out exactly what kind of boundaries I wanted to have in my life and what it would take to put them there. So internally, I had to look at what it is that I needed to change inside of me. And then externally, I needed to hold myself and others accountable to those boundaries as well. So it's not always fun to kind of go into that new skill set and to kind of work through them. But looking back at my career, looking back at the people that I was working with, looking back at the standards that I'd set for myself in the situation, it was really a time of major growth for me. And I don't know if I would necessarily go back and do it differently, but I would maybe change up a little bit in how, because I grew in success very quickly. And so I would maybe just change a couple of those boundaries and to maybe have less of a blow on my family and my personal life as in the past. But bygones be bygones. Moving forward was what I really needed to focus on. And you too can focus on some positive things. So if you're finding yourself to be resentful or angry or just on full out burnout from where you're at in life, I would really beg of you to look at your boundaries, your personal boundaries, your professional boundaries, your relationships, your boundaries with food, your boundaries with self-care, your boundaries with other people and relationships. Learn from them, grow from them. Boundaries are what help us set the path for self-care and strong mental health. So when I set some new boundaries for myself, if I'm going to take the first 45 minutes of my day for me and fill my cup first and really respect that boundary of I'm not going to check my email immediately. I'm not going to respond to other people's fires before I take care of myself. When I really learned to take some time for self-respect and some self-care, I was really able to find a place in my life where my cup got filled up first. My family's cup got filled up first. I was able to take care of me, which means I was able to take care of them. And then I was able to go out and do the work that I needed to do that either brought home the income or helped and serve other people with the servant heart that I had. So it's a good time for you to kind of seek out what it is that you want out of life, and then align the things that you're doing in your day with the things that you want to have as the end result. How you live your day is how you live your life. So if you're looking for more ways for you to create some boundaries, I want you to really think about what it is that you want at the end goal. Like, what is it that you would want your life to look like in the boundaries that you have? And then also think about these types of boundaries. So how do they feel? What do they look like? I have some other boundaries to think about is that it's not my job to fix other people. It is my job to set my own boundaries for myself and to really hone in on what's happening inside my circle. Several times we've talked here on podcasts about locus of control, and the things that I can control are in a small circle that include me and me alone. And then the things outside of my control, it's not my job to fix others. The things that are outside of my control are the things that involve other people. If I focus on me and strengthening myself, and they focus on them and strengthening themselves, we will rise together in the situation. But it's not my responsibility to fix other people. It's also okay for others to get angry over situations, because it's not my job, again, to help them always. It's not my job to live up to their expectations. That's what their expectations are. And disappointments are often unmet expectations. But oftentimes when the other people get upset, it's because you're not trying to fill their cup first. So go live your life. Go live up your expectations. Know that it's okay to say no. It's not my job to take that responsibility for other people. Other people should own their responsibilities, own their wins, own their losses, and learn from them and grow from them. I do not have to anticipate the needs of others. It's not my job to make me happy. It is my job to make me happy. It's not my job to make them happy. Nobody has to agree with me for me to live my true life. The only person that you should be living for is yourself and your maker. It's my right to own my feelings, and I am 1000% enough in the world. So it's not my job to fix other people. It's okay if others get angry. It's okay to say no. It's not my job to take care or responsibility for other people. I do not have to anticipate the needs of other people. It's my job to make me happy. Nobody has to agree with my decisions. I have the right to own my feelings, and I am 1000% enough. When you can kind of set those kinds of boundaries in your life where you are responsible 100% for you, and you know how you want to feel, you know where you want to go in life, you know who's important in your life, you can set your boundaries up around those things, and then put the naysayers on the outside of the fence. Put the naysayers on the outside of the boundaries, and don't let them get to you. I would hope and pray that you would surround yourself with people that are encouraging you, that are supporting you, that are giving you the heck yeah, go for it, girl kind of situations. And that you're surrounding yourself with the people who aren't going to be angry for you going for a big goal, who are 100% know and understand that they want you to go for the things that light you up in this world. And that they're not looking for a handout, but they're looking for a leg up and helping you move forward towards your goal. Taking responsibility for their actions and fixing themselves, because that's how we all work together in this world. And I would also hope and pray that if you, again, are in that resentful, angry, or burnt out space, that you figure out what boundaries you need in your life that are going to help you increase your self-care, increase your self-confidence, increase your self-love, and move towards a space where you have strong self-care and strong mental health and strong self-respect aspects in your life. And where you can kind of look back in a full circle moment and say, this is where I was, this is where I am. And I did not have healthy boundaries in the past, but I have healthy boundaries now. And you will be able to say, I respect myself. I know where I'm going. I love who I am. And I'm so grateful that God created me as who He has created me to be. And so if that's you, I hope it's you. And it's just as Brene Brown says, daring to set boundaries is having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing other people. Because disappointment is really just unmet expectations. And if you're don't disappoint yourself. If you're going to disappoint anyone in the world, disappoint other people, but don't disappoint who God made you to be and who He has you here on this earth for. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope and pray that one of these tips and strategies has helped you, encouraged you, and pushed you out of your comfort zone a little bit to create some healthy boundaries in your life where you can fill your cup first, fill the cup of the people that you care about, and then serve the people around you with the time that's left in your day. If you love this episode, or if you want to share it with other people, that would be so blessed on my behalf. If you were to share this on your social media, tell other people about it, and just leave a rating and review at Apple Podcasts. That helps the most. And a huge shout out to New Zealand as being one of the top countries listening to the show these days. And just thank you so much for telling other people and for expanding it in your country. I know we have dozens of countries around the world that listen in. And I feel so honored and blessed that God's allowed me to share my voice and my message with you. And I hope and pray that you continue to share it with other people and we can continue to grow. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you have a great one. Talk to you here next time.